The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests, and are not those of Pesmo Radio, its employees or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements of any radio show programs or products mentioned on air, on our website, social media accounts and marketing materials. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to Pesmo Radio, its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing Pesmo Radio.
Are you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to the Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Songwriter Show. I'm your host Sarantos, a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words are so important to me, and that's why I'm thrilled to host this show. I believe that every song is a story. The Songwriter Show is broadcast live on number one ranked Pesmo Radio and has listeners in all 206 countries in the world and every state in the U.S. The station is also licensed with ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, and Sound Exchange, and has partnerships throughout the music industry, including iHeartRadio and exposure to over 300 million listeners.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Tonight's first guest is Lyndon Rivers. Lyndon was born in Bristol, England, and he's a songwriter-producer. He's made the move to Western Australia in 1997. After being fascinated by lyrics when he was 16 years old, he used to write songs and he never stopped. Many years later, Lyndon is currently concentrated on producing music of all sorts. He's now released many tracks, and they've had great reviews, and they have radio airplay worldwide. Welcome to the show, Lyndon. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Well, it's nice to talk to you. I know you're currently in Australia, correct?
That's correct, in Perth, Western Australia.
Okay, and I'm sure there's a pretty nice time difference between us, so what time of day is it there?
It's 2 minutes past 8 a.m., that is, not...
Okay, so bright and early, okay. Tell us about, when did you start getting into the music thing? You were 15, 16, or did the bug bite you before that?
Yeah, the bug bit me at quite a young age, when I was about 7 or 8, really. I always loved music. And it developed from there, and I just kind of got obsessed by lyrics of songs, so I started writing them down, and then a magazine came out with all these lyrics in, and that was great. So it developed from there, really.
Okay, so are lyrics your main thing? Is that what you focus on the most?
In the beginning, yes. Lyrics was the thing I liked to do. And then I just developed more. I started doing the melody, the vocal melody, and now I'm on to producing the whole track.
Okay. Is there a certain genre or style of music you like to produce nowadays?
I seem to cross a lot of genres, and it's all based around the EDM sort of pop thing. So that's the sort of style I like.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about when you start making your music. Do you come up with melodies first? Do you lay down some beats first? How do you get started?
Well, basically it's all electronic stuff. So, no, I start off by having the vocals and then make the music to the vocals. So it's all based on what the vocals like, really. I have some idea what I'm going to do, and other times I don't.
Okay, yeah, I totally get that. How do you decide if something's going to make it to be actually released worldwide? Is there a process? Are there people that you ask? How do you figure that out?
Well, basically, it's got to be commercial to me. Everything's got to be, with a strong hook, so people, can relate to it straight away. And that's what I like to do. Before, I always try to keep to the same standard when I'm creating a song. So, I have a lot of songs, but I don't know which one's the best, because they're all kind of on a level. If they don't turn out to be any good, I just delete them.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to figure out, isn't it?
Yeah.
How long do you think it takes you to make a song? Is it something that takes you a couple hours? Is it something that takes you a year? What does that entail for you?
Usually I finish a track now, because I haven't had much time, believe it or not. But about 9 or 10 days I can do a track in. So not too long, really. Okay.
Are you still touring and doing public performances, or are you mostly producing out in the studio?
Yeah, just producing in the studio. I wanted to progress this year to going out to the pubs in Perth and playing my music, but obviously with the current climate, that's not going to happen for a while.
Yeah, it's true. It's tough. It's a tough environment. How has that affected Australia? Obviously, I'm in the U.S., and I don't know too much about what's happening in Australia with the virus, but what is it doing to you guys down there?
Well, in Perth is very good. The Premier of our state has done such a good job of shutting all the borders and, containing everything. And we've actually got just 3 people now that got the virus. So we're starting to open things up. He's got a plan and he's sticking to it, which is really good. But the rest of Australia, Melbourne, is getting sort of worse. There's more people getting it there. So it's sort of state by state, like it is in America. Some's bad and some's good, but we're excellent in Perth.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think is your favorite song of all time? If you had to pick one. I know it's kind of tough to do, but what would it be?
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. It's probably be a Beatles song or something from the 70s or 80s. I really couldn't pick one. Hey Jude, I suppose. I'll pick the Beatles. Hey Jude.
That's a great song. Okay.
Yeah, it's got a great melody and it's so good to sing along to.
Yeah. Is there a favorite 70s jam that you have and a favorite 80s jam?
Well, my favorite brand of music in the 70s, from the 70s, was Tamla Motown. So it'd have to be something, probably Diana Ross song or something like that. But I can't pick one.
Yeah, okay. What was your first job that you did that wasn't music related?
I've never actually done a job that's music related. So, yeah, when I left school, I just started to work in a petrol station first of all, and then into the building trade. And I had a lot of jobs because I was in and out of work in those days.
Yeah. What's your typical week like?
My typical week, what I do, I work part-time in the mornings, and then the afternoons is for creating music and doing promotion. Because the promotional work takes so long to do. It's just, you can spend hours on it. It's researching where to send your music or what to do with it, and, vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a hidden superpower that you have that you'd like to share with us?
Hidden superpower? Not really. It's just, I think, if you want to make it, you've got to be commercial in some way or another. Although, obviously there's a lot of songs that make it that aren't commercial. But to get noticed, I read an article on Facebook by a female DJ, and she said, there's a hell of a lot of music out there, so you've got to release a lot to get noticed. And so I took that up, and so I think that's sort of the magical thing is to release as much as you can.
I agree. It's definitely tough to, in this day and age, there's so much music being produced and released every single day. It's hard to stand out.
Yeah, that's right. It's it's great that we got the internet and that, but it brings more people into play then.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Is there some kind of advice you'd give to someone just starting out in the industry?
Yeah, just to stick at things, and you've got to work hard. Like I said, at the promotional side, it's really hard, that bit. And I do a lot of Facebook posts when I release a song, and I do advertising on there. That's gets you noticed a bit, but it's tough. So I would say, get your stuff together and release it, and try and promote it as much as you can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree. Do you think sometimes people spend more time promoting and doing some of the grunt work than actually making music in this industry?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it takes hours, to search, what radio stations to send it to, where, if you want to go to a label, what labels, and it's just endless. And also, I must say, there's a lot of things out there where you can get ripped off pretty easily, where they don't do what they say they're going to do. So you go through all that, and it's just a learning curve, really.
No, I totally understand that. What do you think about when you're alone in the car?
What do I think about it? I'm listening to mainly, would you believe it or not, my own music. Because when I finish a song, I need to listen to it a hell of a lot of times. So I do play my own music in the car a lot. Besides, artists that I like. But no, I'm just thinking about what I'm going to do, when I get home.
Sure.
For the music side of it.
What's the funniest thing that's happened to you in the last year?
Oh, funniest thing. I just cannot think of anything funny, really. that's happened to me. It's been going pretty good.
How about the coolest thing that's happened to you in the last year that you want to share with us?
Something cool going on at the moment on Spotify with that track you're going to play. It seems it's been played a hell of a lot in Italy, particularly through this lockdown. So that's pretty cool, I think. And it's gone on to a lot of public playlists, within the last 6 weeks. And it's a song I released, back last October, so it's not just a recent one.
Yeah. Why do you think it's doing well in Italy? Any particular reason?
The guy put it on a public playlist who was Italian, and then it followed from there, I think. But I was pretty surprised that there were so many plays on his playlist, because he had about 1,000 songs on it. So
yeah.
I couldn't believe it, really. And then it sort of flowed from there. But it's being played all over the world on Spotify now. But Italy was where it hit off.
Well, that's a wonderful feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see where it goes, and see if I can promote this song more.
Is there something you can tell us about this song, like what inspired it or what made you want to create it?
Well, the vocal comes from a vocal pack from an artist, for starters, and it's just such a great vocal, and the vocal melody is really good. It's a really good singer, and it just came out so good. You get a feeling when you've finished a song. You get that feeling, don't you? You think, oh, this is pretty good, this one. And sometimes you think, oh, I don't know about this. And it might turn out to be your best song. to other people, but yeah, this one was, I felt it was pretty good, pretty special song, really.
Absolutely. When you look at Australia versus the U.S., what do you think the biggest difference is in terms of the music created?
Oh, well, music created in the U.S. is, so, it's got so many more people doing it, but the style of music is definitely different. Obviously, there's a lot of sort of dance-based stuff in America and hip-hop, which there is, some of that here, but it's mainly sort of pop stuff and country, stuff like that in Australia.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your website. Where can people find you? Where can they buy your music or listen to it?
It's on Wix. It's a Wix website, and if you just Google my name, it'll come up. So that's the easiest way to do it, really.
Okay. Do you have any suggestions for somebody starting out in the music business that wants to fly out to Australia? Anything that he should visit? Any place he should try to tour down there or perform?
Yeah, it's obviously the first place people go, artists go, is Sydney. Is where there's more opportunities to perform, and then Melbourne and Brisbane, Perth. To me, is the best city in Australia for beauty and that, and for lifestyle. It's quite a big city now. There's 2 million people here now. There was 1 million when I came here. So for performing, probably Sydney has got the best market.
Okay. This song that we're going to listen to, you talked a little bit about melody. Do you think melody is the most important thing in a song?
Yeah, it's one of the most important things, definitely. It can make or break a song, even with the right lyrics. It's something that you've got to put a lot of thought into. But the vocal melody, obviously, is very important as well.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you're watching on TV. What's like the coolest thing that you're watching right now that you want to share with us?
We watched a drama series called Bodyguard. That was pretty full on, but pretty good story. It's from the UK. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's on Netflix.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely watching a ton of Netflix now with the coronavirus. It seems like that's the main thing I'm doing other than making music.
Yeah, that's the place to go at the moment, I think, Netflix.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a listen to your song now. I want to thank you so much for being on the show, and love to have you on again anytime.
Thank you very much for having me and asking me. It's been great.
All right, Lyndon, you have a great night or a great day there, and we're going to listen to your song right now, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, no problem. Here we go.
I love was what they talk about in movies. I love was what they talk about in movies. I love was what they talk about. talk about, what they talk about in movies I love was wild and free. You know everything about me, so wild, free. You know everything about me. You know everything about me. Give you my emotions. I just tryna give you all my love. All my love is never enough, never enough. Love, love, never let me go, never let me go. No, never let me go. No, love can't ever let me go, never let me go from your love. Our love was wild. Our love was wild. Our love was wild. Our love was what they talk about, what they talk about in movies. Our love was what they talk about, what they talk about in movies. Our love was what they talk about, what they talk about in movies. Our love was wild and free. You know everything about me, so wild, free. You know everything about me. You know everything about me. You know everything about me, so wild, free. You know everything about me. You know everything about me.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Tonight's guest is Tom Tikka. Having previously been signed to Sony BMG with Carmen Gray, one of Finland's finest rock bands, Tom Tikka has formed The Impersonators, a two-man project born out of their ashes designed to cut out the politics and strife which come from the rock and roll carnival of band life. Resolutely studio-based, The Impersonators channel the bejeweled power pop of the Go-Betweens, the effortless songwriting genius of Matthew Sweet, and the immediacy and worldliness of early REM to deliver timeless, alt-pop melodies. Welcome to the show, Tom. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well. You have a very unique story. Tell us a little bit about when it all started for you. When did you start playing and why?
The Impersonators or me?
Either one. I think when you first started playing just on your own as a kid, before all that.
I was 6. I picked up the guitar when I was 6. I fell in love with music a little bit before that. My dad was a bit of a, he loved music. We listened to music whenever we drove somewhere. We had music almost always on around the house. And I remember this one day, we went to get gas. My dad went inside to pay. And I stayed in the car, and he had just bought a tape, Paul Anka's Greatest Hits, and a song called Lonely Boy came on. And something happened. I mean, it's kind of weird when you think about it. Somebody who was 6 is very young. But I remember the moment. I remember listening to Lonely Boy, and it just somehow I realized that something opened up for me that day. I realized that I was hearing it differently than my dad. I realized that I noticed the double track lead vocal, the harmonies, and the song structure, the Latin rhythm. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of, I mean, I have kids, it's kind of unusual to be 6, I think, in retrospect. But that's the way it happened for me. A little bit after that, when we went home, I asked my dad to give me the tape. I took it to my room and played the heck out of it. Well, and a little after that, I asked for a guitar, which my dad bought for me. And that's really how it all started. That's Paul Anka, Lonely Boy, a lot of the other great stuff, a lot of the other great songs on that album. And that's how I somehow became aware of the fact that I love music and that I had some ability in that department, and I wanted to become a songwriter. But that's for me, it's connected to that one memory.
If you had a songwriter musician that you could be in a room with, dead or alive, who would it be if you could pick one?
John Lennon. I mean, that's easy. Other picks would be Brian Wilson, Paul McCartney.
Yeah,
Gene Clark of the Byrds.
Yeah, great picks, man. Tell us a little bit about your own unique songwriting process. Do you start with guitar, music, melody, lyrics? How do you get started?
Traditionally, I've always started with I pick up the acoustic guitar and the melody comes first. But with the impersonators, it was always a bit different. The whole band began when Antti sent me a set of lyrics, and I basically reversed my process. The words were there first, and I wrote a melody to them. And that's always been the case with the impersonators. I never worked like that before. But actually, it has quite a few benefits, because I think that if you have the story down first, then when you write a music to it, somehow I feel that the music reflects the lyrics a bit better that way. I think once you start forcing lyrics in, they'll always take the back burner in the creation process, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so I think it actually it's quite handy. We do write. The process has evolved a bit nowadays. Sometimes, like with Cloud 9, which is the latest single, the melody came first, but that probably had more to do with the fact that I wanted to try out something different for the impersonators, so I reversed the process for us for that particular track.
Now tell us a little bit about the impersonators. How is that different than what you did previously?
Well, for starters, it's a group of 2 songwriters rather than a group of 4 or 5 musicians, and so I always sort of in my mind we are a rock duo or a rock band where the stars are the songs. They're at the center of everything. They're the most important thing, and I think that one of the obviously when you have a duo like this and where it's a group of 2 songwriters and then you have me playing all the instruments, it's a bit. Well, it's not your traditional approach, is it?
No, so, not at all. Yeah.
For example, performing live is a tad difficult. It usually means me going somewhere with my acoustic guitar and playing the songs acoustically. And there's never ever been a band version of the impersonators. And every once in a while, I think about what these songs would sound like live, and you kind of entertain this idea that perhaps I should try and do it, but at the end of the day, it's never gotten to the point where I'd actually start calling people and suggesting that let's do these tracks live.
Yeah,
I'd still want them to play all the parts exactly the way they were recorded, and that might be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, so it's kind of like 21 Pilots, right? I think there's 2 of them too. So yeah.
Or Alan Parsons Project. It's not outlandish to do things like this, but it is very rare.
Sure. What kind of advice would you give to someone that wants to start their own two-piece band?
That's, you caught me by surprise here. I think the advice is probably the same as it is with anyone, especially if it's a group of songwriters. I mean, if you got two people, chances are that they're both writing. Be true to yourself, but at the same time, try to write tunes that are pleasing to the ear, cater a bit for the listeners, and maybe you'll get on the radio and get ahead. Try to check both boxes, if you know what I mean. Yeah. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah. Where are you located now?
Right now I'm in Helsinki, Finland.
Okay. How is the Finnish scene? Is it compared to America? And I know you spent some time in the Chicago area. Better or worse?
In terms of music?
Yeah, in terms of music, in terms of just gigs, in terms of everything.
Well, I don't really, because a lot of the music nowadays in Finland, the music that's produced here is sung in Finnish. And I do speak Finnish because my parents were Finns, but I grew up in the States. And I'm not really, I haven't really listened to Finnish music sung in Finnish almost at all. It's not a conscious decision that I'll never do it. I have a few records that that were important to my dad and important to the relatives, and culturally you have to know them. But I mean, cultures are very different, and I think that the lyrics, the way it's all very alien to me. It's not that I don't like it, but it's very difficult for me to identify with music sung in Finnish. We used to have bands like Hanoi Rocks, Him, but nowadays everything happens, I do have albums by those groups, and I love them, especially Hanoi Rocks is one of my favorite bands in the entire universe. But nowadays, it's all happening in Finnish, and so as a result, I don't really follow. And I mean that in the best possible way. There's, I'm sure it's quality music, and I'm sure it brings a lot of people comfort and great moments, and all the more power to them for that. But it really, I don't, like I said, I don't follow.
Yeah. So if I visit Finland in the future, what do I have to eat when I get out there? What are they known for?
Another very tricky question. I'd probably try something. These things called Karelian pies, Karelian pasties.
Okay,
they're pretty good. And buttered eggs with them.
That's interesting. That sounds good.
Yeah. A lot of my American friends have enjoyed those. So I mean, there's some weird stuff that you probably wouldn't like, but I'm pretty sure you'd like that.
Yeah. What about the coolest place to gig out there? Is there a certain club or stadium or something that we should try if we ever get out there?
It's Tavastia Club. I mean, that's very famous. It's downtown Helsinki, and if you ever were anyone over here, you've played that venue. It's not possible to. It's not possible to make it big in Finland or have any sort of success in my neck of the woods without going through that club first.
Tell us a little bit about what you were like in high school.
I was in the music even then. I mean, I hate to say it, I was also one of the cool kids, though. Played pranks on teachers, people. Had a lot of fun in high school. Played football. I mean, I had multiple interests. Part of me is very much into sports, but that part has been sort of shrinking as music took over at some point. Must have been the senior year when I realized that this is really the greatest talent that I have. And at that point, when I made that decision, and it was very conscious, the other stuff just became, I wouldn't say it became of no interest to me, but I shied away from all the other things a bit for a while. Played guitar 5-6 hours a day, wrote songs. I mean, became obsessed in a way with learning the trade, and I played a lot before that, and obviously started writing at a very early age, but around 18, 19, really didn't do anything else but that. Just fell in love with music completely, totally, and it continues to this day.
Well, it's a healthy obsession, my friends. It's okay. We give you permission to do it.
All right, thanks. I feel good about it now, man.
Do you have like a favorite person to follow on social media? Someone that you just love, reading what they post every day or something like that?
I wish I could say that I do, but I don't. I do. I mean, the impersonators are in social media, but I'm not a social media freak. My kids are. I think that for example, if I look at my son, how he runs his Facebook and Instagram, and he's there all the time. I probably should be, to be honest with you. I can sort of now talking about this, I'm aware of the irony of it, but I do try to post something every day for the impersonators. But as to following somebody, no, not really. No. I mean, I obviously follow the Beatles pages. There's a post every once in a while, and I find interesting. I read that. I do check out stuff, but to be able to name one person, no, sadly, no.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. When you look at the jobs you've had over the years, what was the funnest job that you had that had nothing to do with music?
Teaching middle school. I enjoyed that very much. And in retrospect, it was a great position. I loved working with the kids. I know a lot of teachers get frustrated with that age group, and it obviously the age group has its challenges. I'm not gonna sit here and say it doesn't, because it obviously it does. But I mean, I loved being in middle school. I mean, it was my playground, and I was still doing. I mean. I was a good student. I got good grades, but I mean, I enjoyed school, so I suppose it only makes sense that I enjoyed going back as a teacher. Yeah.
I think teachers are so undervalued in everything, music, any subject that you pick. I think they should make more money, and they're the heartbeat of our kids.
Yeah, I do agree. I did that for I think 3 years, but I mean, I have good memories, and I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. Where can fans and listeners, where can they reach out to you? Where can they buy your music? Do you have a website? Any information you want to share with us?
Well, our website is impersonatorsmusic.com. That'll basically have everything you need to / want to know about us. We're on Spotify, all the streaming platforms. And like I already said, you can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Apple Music, obviously. There's quite a few places where you can buy the download the songs, although I don't do that very often, so I'm actually trying to think in terms of what are all the sites that the label always sends me an email and post this, and I can't think of them right now, but they are out there. Yeah.
Okay.
Most folks would go to Spotify anyway. I mean, that's the radio / the record player of the day, isn't it?
How about telling us what this song we're going to hear, what inspired it, what's it about, what do you want us to take from it when we listen to it?
Well, it's basically it's twofold. My contribution to the lyric lyric. I wrote that after a therapy session, and that's the chorus. A few days before, Antti had sent me a poem that was a love poem about a couple growing old together, and I had immense difficulties because writing my bit, which is usually the chorus, because I've written quite a few love songs back in the day, but I think that something happens to you as you age a bit, or are not in your 20s. I think that when you're in your 20s and when you're young, love is a very simple concept, but once you get a bit older, it becomes more complex. So I was struggling with to find the right words. But after a bit of a, like I said, I came home from the shrink's office, and in the car it just hit me. We'd had a session about the difficulties and challenges that I have in relationships, and pretty much I came to an understanding that I've been the so-called designated driver, where I place other people's happiness before my own, and that's been always a bit of a problem. And so that's where the words of the chorus come from, if you're feeling down, whatever, I'll console you, and I'll bring the sun and what have you, the words. And then that's basically that's where my bit comes from. But it fitted nicely with this theme of a couple growing old together, because obviously if you're lucky, you can be every bit as much in love in your 70s as you were in your 20s. It's very rare, but it does happen every once in a while.
Okay. We're going to listen to your song in 2 minutes here. Let me ask you a couple more questions. What was the funniest movie you've seen in the last year or two?
Funniest movie I've seen in the last year or two? It's good we're not live. Hold on. Let me think about this for a while, because I watch movies with my son all the time. There was this. Actually, the funniest movie that I've seen is a Swedish movie. I mean, this doesn't really make any sense to mention it here, but you did ask the funniest movie, and we didn't specify cultural language. And obviously, my mom was a Swedish speaker, so. But Solsidan, definitely, it doesn't exist in English, but it was incredibly funny. It's about these two couples that are friends, and I mean, I loved it. I won't go into it now, because that description would definitely go over 2 minutes. But I mean, yeah, I enjoyed that very much. And in terms of TV series, I've actually my son and I've started watching The Cosby Show, and I had sort of forgotten how much I enjoyed it way back when. We're doing that, watching the first season now. That's pretty funny too.
Okay. All right, Tom, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, and love to have you back again anytime, and we're going to hear your song right now, okay?
All right. Hey, thanks for having me, and it'd be great to come back.
All right, Tom, have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Way down low, be. I want you by my side. When the dark is riding high, standing on the precipice of life, I would follow you to our demise, to lovers on the moon of me and you. If you're way down low, I'll try to give you a smile. If you're way down low, we'll be alone for a while. If you're way down low, I'll make you realize the stars will align. If you're way down low, I'll bring you sunny skies. If you're way down low, I'll try to melt the ice. If you're way down low, I'll make you realize that we're on cloud nine. Avalanches come, but we are immune, walking hand in hand. Love letters in the sand. Oh, love letters in the If you're way down low, I'll try to give you a smile. If you're way down low, we'll be alone for a while. If you're way down low, I'll make you realize the stars will align. If you're way down low, I'll bring you sunny skies. If you're way down low, I'll try to melt the ice. If you're way down low, I'll make you realize that we're on cloud nine.
Another wonderful song. I want to thank both my guests for being on the show tonight. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I know your time is precious, and I want to thank you for sharing some of it with me tonight. To any listeners out there who may be artists, if you want to be on the Songwriter Show, please just feel free to reach out to me. Thank you again for listening. I hope your own unique story gets heard around the world. My name is Sarantos, and please join me every Tuesday night to hear other amazing artists share their fascinating behind-the-scenes stories right here at the Songwriter Show. And tonight, I'm going to leave you with a song that I just released this weekend called Mother's Day. It's a simple song dedicated to my mama. Every Mother's Day, I try to think hard about the perfect gift to give her, and no matter how hard I try, I've never thought my gifts let her know how much I truly love and care for her. So this year, I just wrote a song for her instead. And I offered it to her and wanted just to say thank you for everything you've ever done for me. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.
You always wore an eager smile. I don't know how you had such style and still got it done. Believe, you always believed and made sure. You just always had the cure, and you get it done. Hug of you can last for as long as you wanted to. Worry won't change our tomorrow, but you worry anyway, so do.
Mother's Day deserves a 2 to 2, and this Mother's Day I love more for you. Yeah, you deserve another handed thank you, so I put it in a song just for you. You're always there just when I need you. You're the glue, it's nothing new, so I put it in a song for you.
You picked me up when I was down, kept my bad days from being loud.
it's nothing new, so I put it in a song for you.
Career command aren't easy to love, but my mama I love too.
Mother's Day deserves a tuning too, and this Mother's Day I want more for you. Yeah, you deserve a never-ending thank you, so I put it in the song just for you. You're always there just when I need you. You're the glue, it's nothing new, so I put it in the song for you.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.
Thank you for choosing Pesmo Radio.